The cruise industry generates $57 billion a year, and a shocking chunk of that comes from one single source: passengers who had no idea they were overpaying for things they could have gotten free. Hack number 1. The price drop guarantee they never advertise. Here is something most cruisers never realize. After you book your cruise, the price for your cabin can drop significantly as the sailing date approaches. Most major cruise lines have a price protection policy, but they will never proactively reach out and tell you about it. You have to go looking for it yourself. Set a calendar reminder to check your booking price every few weeks after you pay your deposit. If the price drops, call the cruise line directly and ask for the difference as onboard credit or an upgrade. Some lines will honor this up until final payment date. Others have a shorter window. Knowing this exists and actively monitoring it is the difference between leaving money on the table and walking onto that ship with free cocktails waiting. Hack number 2. Book shore excursions through third-party operators. The cruise line wants you to book every shore excursion through them, and they have one very compelling argument for why you should. They tell you that if you book through them and the excursion runs late, the ship will wait for you. But here is what they conveniently leave out. Third-party tour operators that specialize in cruise port stops are often 40 to 60% cheaper than the ship's equivalent tour. They are frequently run by local guides with far more intimate knowledge of the destination. And the ship waiting for you guarantee? It applies far more rarely than the marketing suggests. Do your homework on reputable third-party operators for each port. Leave yourself a genuine time buffer, and keep your ship's emergency number saved in your phone. You will see more, spend less, and often have a dramatically better experience. Hack number 3. The cabin upgrade trick that actually works. Most cruisers book their cabin and accept whatever they get. But experienced cruisers know that cruise lines routinely oversell cabin categories and need to move people around as the sailing date gets closer. About 2 to 3 days before your departure, call the cruise line and ask casually if any complimentary upgrades are available. Frame it politely, mention that you are celebrating something if you are, and ask specifically if there are any junior suites or higher category balconies that have opened up. The timing matters enormously here. Too early and inventory is locked. Too close to sailing and logistics make it complicated. That sweet spot of 2 to 3 days out is when the magic often happens. Worst case, they say no. Best case, you end up in a balcony cabin for the price of an inside room. Hack number 4. The drink package math. They do not want you to run. Drink packages are one of the most profitable products cruise lines sell, and they are designed with very specific psychology in mind. The packages always sound like incredible value when you think about them vaguely. But the moment you actually run the numbers, the picture changes. Take the daily cost of the premium beverage package, divide it by the average price of a drink on board, and figure out exactly how many drinks per day you need to consume to break even. For most people on most cruise lines, that number is somewhere between 6 and 8 drinks per day, every single day of the voyage. Factor in port days where you might not be on the ship, seasickness days, days where you just do not feel like drinking that much, and mornings and afternoons when you are nowhere near a bar. The math often does not favor the package unless you are a genuinely enthusiastic daily drinker. For moderate drinkers, paying as you go or choosing a lower tier package is frequently the smarter financial move. Hack number 5. Gratuities and what the cruise line actually does with them. This one creates genuine controversy in the cruising community, and for good reason. The automatic daily gratuity charge that appears on your onboard account is a significant revenue item for cruise lines. Here is what many passengers do not realize. In many cases, when you pay the automatic service charge, the money does not go directly and exclusively to the crew member who served you. It goes into a pooled fund that is distributed according to internal policies that vary by company and are rarely made fully transparent to passengers. If you want to make sure the crew members who genuinely enhanced your experience are recognized, consider the automatic gratuities as your baseline obligation and then tip outstanding crew members directly in cash at the end of the voyage. A $20 bill handed personally to a cabin steward who remembered your name and your coffee preference every single morning means far more in practical terms than the pooled distribution system. Hack number 6. Free food that rivals the specialty restaurants. Every cruise ship has been charging increasingly aggressive prices for specialty dining. Some ships now have so many paid restaurants that the main dining room feels like an afterthought. But here is what the marketing never highlights. The buffet areas on most modern ships often serve essentially identical food to some specialty venues during specific hours. The Lido deck often hosts themed nights and special culinary events that receive zero promotional attention but deliver genuinely impressive food. Room service on many lines still has a free basic menu that includes items far better than what gets advertised. Exploring every free dining option before reaching for your wallet for a specialty restaurant is the move of an experienced cruiser. Hack number 7. How to get the best cabin location for your money. The cruise line assigns cabins, and most people accept whatever they receive without question. But where your cabin sits on the ship has an enormous impact on your experience and is something you can influence at the booking stage. Midship cabins on lower decks feel significantly less motion during rough seas. This matters enormously if you are prone to any kind of seasickness. Cabins directly below the Lido deck buffet mean you are hearing chairs scraping and foot traffic starting at 6 in the morning. Cabins near the elevators mean constant noise and hallway foot traffic all night. Cabins at the very front of the ship can feel dramatic pitching when seas get choppy. Request or select midship cabins on decks 4 through 7. They are quieter, steadier, and often the same price as far less desirable locations. Hack number 8. The loyalty program loophole that most people never exploit. Every major cruise line has a loyalty program, and most occasional cruisers treat it as a nice bonus rather than a strategic tool. Here is the inside angle. If you are new to cruising or early in your loyalty journey with one cruise line, it is often possible to transfer past sailing credit from affiliated brands within the same corporate family. Carnival Corporation owns multiple major lines. Royal Caribbean Group has its own family of brands. Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings similarly owns multiple brands. Sailings on affiliated sister brands can sometimes count toward or complement status on the parent brand's program. Additionally, some cruise lines offer status matches from competitor programs if you contact them directly and ask. This is not advertised anywhere. You simply have to call and ask the loyalty department specifically. Hack number 9. Booking the repositioning cruise nobody talks about. This is perhaps the single most powerful value hack in all of cruising, and the cruise lines definitely do not promote it aggressively because it completely undercuts their pricing power on more glamorous routes. Repositioning cruises happen when ships need to physically move between deployment regions. A ship spending summer in Europe needs to cross the Atlantic to spend winter in the Caribbean. That transatlantic crossing has to happen regardless, and the cruise line would rather fill it with paying passengers than sail it empty. These crossings are sometimes priced at a fraction of comparable cruise lengths on popular routes. You get multiple sea days, often exceptional entertainment programming, excellent crew-to-passenger ratios, because some families with school-age children cannot do these longer one-way trips, and access to the same ship amenities at dramatically reduced prices. The catch is, you need flexibility on dates, and you need to book a one-way flight to or from the embarkation or disembarkation port. Hack number 10. The spa trick that saves you 30 to 40%. Cruise ship spas are operated by third-party concession companies, most commonly Steiner Leisure and its successor companies, and they have pricing structures that almost nobody outside the industry fully understands. Port day pricing is significantly lower than sea day pricing for most treatments. The spa is not busy when everyone else is off the ship exploring a destination, and the technicians need to stay on board either way. Additionally, the very first sea day of any cruise almost always features a spa special that is dramatically discounted compared to standard pricing. This is designed to get you in the door and introduce you to their upselling process for spa products. Go in with your wallet firmly closed to the add-on product recommendations, book on port days, and you can enjoy legitimately luxurious treatments at prices that feel almost reasonable by cruise standards. Hack number 11. Internet packages and how to avoid paying for them entirely. Internet on cruise ships is notoriously overpriced and underperforming. The packages have improved in recent years, but they remain expensive relative to what you get. Here is what most people do not know. Most modern cruise ports have reasonably fast free Wi-Fi available at the port terminal, at the first coffee shop you find within a short walk, or at a nearby bar or restaurant. If you have genuine work requirements during your cruise, doing your connectivity-intensive tasks at the port while the ship is docked is often a far more practical solution than paying for a week of frustratingly slow satellite internet on board. For the purely social media and messaging needs, most modern messaging apps work on extremely low bandwidth. You can often get by with the cheapest single-device messaging-focused package rather than the full streaming-capable package the cruise line aggressively promotes. Hack number 12. Packing the items that are technically allowed but never mentioned. The cruise line's prohibited items list is very specific about what you cannot bring. But the list of things you absolutely can bring that will dramatically improve your experience is never shared with you. A power strip without a surge protector is allowed on most cruise lines because surge protectors can interfere with the ship's electrical systems. Staterooms have criminally few electrical outlets. A basic multi-outlet extender solves this immediately. A reusable water bottle saves you from paying for bottled water throughout the cruise, and most ships have water stations in the buffet area. A small battery-powered fan dramatically improves sleep comfort in cabins that sometimes have limited climate control options. Magnetic hooks. Because cruise ship walls are metal, and these stick perfectly to create extra storage space in notoriously small cabins. None of this is secret exactly, but the cruise line has zero incentive to tell you any of it. Hack number 13. How to get a free cabin for a future cruise without winning anything. The Future Cruise Deposit program that every cruise line operates is one of the most legitimately undervalued offerings in the industry. While on board, you can visit the Future Cruise sales desk and put down a small refundable deposit, sometimes as little as $100 per person, to secure a booking benefit that includes reduced deposits on future sailings, and in many cases onboard credit applied to the future voyage. The credits are often significantly more than the deposit amount. Some lines offer $200 to $500 in future onboard credit for a $100 refundable deposit. The deposit is refundable if you ultimately cancel. This is free money sitting on the desk in the middle of the ship, and the vast majority of passengers walk right past it every single day of the cruise without knowing it exists. Hack number 14. The embarkation day strategy that changes everything. Most first-time cruisers arrive at the port, check in, immediately fight through crowds to board the ship, rush to the buffet with thousands of other passengers, and spend the first 4 hours of their vacation frustrated and exhausted. Experienced cruisers do this completely differently. If you have suite or loyalty status, you board first and access the ship before the crowds. If you do not, you actually board slightly later. Arriving at the port 1 to 2 hours after the main embarkation rush means you walk straight through check-in with no line, board a ship that is still buzzing with energy but no longer overcrowded, and find the buffet, the pool deck, and every bar in a manageable state. Meanwhile, cabins become available at roughly the same time, regardless of when you board. Waiting a little costs you nothing and saves you a morning of irritation. Hack number 15. The complaint that actually gets you something. The cruise industry runs on reviews, and the major lines track onboard satisfaction metrics obsessively. Crew members' careers and compensation are directly tied to the scores their guests assign at the end of the voyage. This creates a very specific dynamic that experienced cruisers understand and leverage ethically. If something is genuinely wrong during your cruise, going to guest services and calmly and specifically describing the problem, without theatrics, without demanding anything specific, but mentioning that you were really hoping this trip would be a 10 out of 10 experience, triggers a response process designed to make problems disappear. Onboard credits appear. Complimentary specialty dinners materialize. Bottle of wine show up at your cabin. The cruise line would infinitely rather spend $40 solving your problem on board than have you post a detailed 3-star review that influences the booking decisions of thousands of future passengers. This is not about being difficult. It is about understanding that legitimate concerns, calmly communicated, are taken extremely seriously. There you have it. 15 things the cruise industry has absolutely zero interest in you knowing. The cruise lines are not evil, and cruising genuinely can be one of the best vacation values in travel when you know what you are doing. But they are businesses operating in a competitive industry, and like every business, they will happily let you overpay and underexperience if you let them. Now you know better. If you found even one of these hacks useful and you are planning a cruise anytime soon, do yourself a favor and save this video. Share it with whoever you are sailing with. And if you want more deep dives into how the travel industry actually works behind the scenes, you know exactly where to find them. Drop in the comments which one of these surprised you the most. I read every single one, and I genuinely want to know. See you in the next one.